to the D.E.A.D podcast. D.E.A.D stands for Desi and Emmy's Abnormal Discoveries, where we discuss all things spooky and weird. I'm Desi,
And I'm Emmy.
and today we'll be talking about Mexican Folklore Part 2, El Cucuy. Let's get started. So, Emmy, how are you doing today?
You know, doing good. I had some hiccups with microphones, but moving right along now. So
And waking up late.
I'm waking up late. Yeah, I woke up at 10 a.m. today, and I'm supposed to start work at 9. And Desi calls me. First off, I guess she texted me a bunch, and I missed it. Then she calls me and is like, "Are you okay? I was about to call the FBI." Then I look at all my texts, and it's like, "I'm calling the FBI," because I wasn't answering her. And I was okay. FBI was not necessary. I was sleeping. Dead asleep. Like a bear. Hibernating. That's how my day's been. It's been a little off because of all that. So, how about you, other than thinking that I was kidnapped?
So, but other than that, it was great.
We're good now, alive and well.
We're good. Alive and well. Emmy's fine. And what spooky shirt are you wearing tonight?
You bought me about 15 spooky shirts. Got them in the mail today. Not 15, but like a lot. And they're all dirty right now because I gotta wash them. So once I wash them, I'll wear them and discuss them in the coming weeks. But right now I have Alex's spooky shirt, which is a skull guy with.
Is he like a basketball skull guy or what?
Okay, she said basketball skull guy. We say it's a tennis skull guy, but really it's just an athletic guy. He's got a Nike headband on and a like fluffy hair, but it's a skull. So kind of creepy, you know? So tell us about your spooky shirt.
Okay, mine is an oldie. It's kind of faded, but it has Freddy Krueger, who is my favorite, and it says "Man of Your Dreams" on it.
Oh, so romantic.
Get it? Get it?
Get it? It's the man of your dreams.
I love it.
It's terrifying.
It's like one of my favorite shirts.
Well, it's going to be funny when I wear mine from you because I'm going to be like, I have the shirt. It's the same, but different. Be like, I have the shirt. Also, same thing, but slightly different. So it'll be fun to describe the difference
Each
in
time.
the shirts. Look, but here's how it's different.
Yes.
We'll have to take pictures of those, put those on. But Desi got me 2 tarot decks, so we'll talk about those later. But we have a Guillermo del Toro tarot deck and horror tarot. Pretty excited about those.
And then
and then my ghosty light. My ghosty light. It's purple and super cute. And so I have it next to my green light with my plants. Yeah, I got all kinds of fun spooky stuff now. So what are you drinking?
I am drinking. We're going with Cayman Jack again.
Oh,
I am
boy.
on a Moscow Mule. And I'm drinking out of my tarot.
Spooky tarot cup. Nice.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking a beer from my favorite St. Louis brewery, I believe. I switch it up a lot on what's my favorite, but it's O'Fallon Brewery. And it's called Sidekick Golden Ale. And it has a dog on it.
Oh, that's cute. Did you buy it just because of that?
Alec did. Yes. He said okay. On the can it says, "Thank you for your support of Duo Dogs. Duo Dogs is a nonprofit organization that trains and connects dogs with people to cultivate positive change in individuals, families, and communities. We brewed Sidekick Golden Ale in the Kolsch style. I love a Kolsch. With 3 types of barley, 2 types of hops for a smooth taste and easy drinking broad appeal. For every Sidekick, easy broads. No, we brewed this beer for easy broads. Okay, O'Fallon. I'm like, count me in. No.
I'm gonna flip that part.
Not the most appropriate. Okay, deep breath. It says for every Sidekick Golden Ale purchased, a portion of the proceeds benefit Duo Dogs and its efforts. Every duo needs a sidekick, so grab one today. So it supports a dog organization. So Alec is a sucker for those. There was another Urban Underdog St. Louis beer that donates a portion to some kind of dog foundation. So we always liked doing that. We like our dog beers.
I love that. Well, yeah, I would definitely, if something had a dog on it, like I would.
Yeah. Have to.
Well, it has to be good. And now, is your other beer the same?
No, I also have a Yingling Black and Tan. So we're out of dog beer. So I'm moving on to Yingling. Because, of course, it took me and Desi forever to get started today with our microphone issues. So the beer is going down smooth.
Because why? Because what's going on? Right?
Microphone issues?
No.
So.
Because what is it? Mercury is
Oh,
in Gatorade.
because Mercury is in Gatorade. Mercury's drinking too much Gatorade. So here we are, struggling with our microphones. It's just like, it makes sense. Like, Mercury's retrograde stuff isn't working. That's how it works.
Now, Emmy, have you watched anything spooky lately?
I watched another episode of Riverdale, and the devil made an appearance, so that's exciting. I watched the new Scream movie, Outside. Yes, that's what you were leading on to. Yes. You're like, come on, Emily. You don't remember what you did this week?
I know. This weekend. Now, which one was this? What's it called?
So it's the new Scream movie, and I think it's just called Scream. I don't even think it's like Scream 6, but it is. Yeah, Scream 5. Okay. Yeah, I watched Scream 5. We watched it outside at my sister's house in the middle of like soybean fields in the country under the full moon. It's good. So how about you? Watch anything spooky? I know you did. I can't remember what you watched though. Well, you just did last night. You texted me and Brandy something. What was that?
That wasn't spooky. It was horrifying, but it wasn't spooky. It was
horrifying.
That was true crime. It's on Netflix, and it's called Sins of Our Mother. And it's about the Lori Vallow lady.
Oh.
And it's a documentary, whatever. There's only 3 episodes.
Okay. So, but then I don't mind too. Like if I listen, you said you listen to podcasts and stuff on it. Well, you have to send me those so I can catch up and then we can chat. Love it.
So I watched that, and then today I just started watching, which I only watched 1.5 episodes. It's called The Outsider, and I just learned from doing research about what we're talking about today that it was something to do with Stephen King, and they made this adaptation of The Outsider, and it has Jason Bateman in it, and that's why I started watching it.
Yeah.
Yes, and so far it's not horror, or it hasn't got. I don't know if it's horror, but so far it's very freaky.
Oh, KVN El Coco, episode 4, right? Is that it? In relation, you said The Outsider? It says season 1, episode 4 is called KVN El Coco.
That's what they were saying when I was reading the article on it. It mentioned it. So have you had any nightmares?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of, which is good. Because I told you they happen a lot, and I didn't have, let me look up my notes here. Horror. Last one was Nobody's Home. But I did, no, nothing creepy. There's been depressing things, but no, nothing spooky. And that's the thing, like with La Llorona, I felt like there was a connection where, like, of course you talked about it and then you had that dream, but then also, like, I watched Riverdale and all of a sudden she was on there. But I didn't have anything this week that connected me in any way to El Cucuy or El Coco, whatever you want to call it. And I'm okay with that.
Like, you had the coyote show up again.
Makes it less scary. Yes, I did have the coyote. We have a coyote that's roaming around in the backyard. I saw him or her. Saw them run up the hill in the back. Didn't catch it on video this time. So there's some coyote medicine around as well. But otherwise, I think I was real distracted. I watched my mom's dog, so I had a lot going on with that I just didn't. Like, the spooky thing would have been at my sister's house, my sister's haunted house, watching Scream in a field out at night under the full moon. But it was, like, powerful. It wasn't, like, a weird, like, I'm so scared, I can't. It was just, like, spooky but fun. Like, we had a lot of fun.
Right. Okay, so today we are going to be discussing El Cucuy. And Emmy, do you know what the Cucuy is?
The Cucuy is the boogeyman, Mexican boogeyman. I know this now because you kept telling me that. Like, you kept saying, like, oh, the Cucuy will get you, or the Cucuy's behind you, or whatever. I thought you were saying Cucuys. I didn't know you were saying the Cucuy. I thought you were saying Cucuys. So I thought of them as, like, little ghosts.
Not
and I'm like,
plural.
oh, I'm like, they're cute little ghosts or something. And then I finally found out you were like, no. Well, there's different names. So I know that much. And I just know from what you told me about that. Like, my family doesn't like scare children into going to sleep. So was not familiar with. Just love to scare children into listening to them, going to sleep, doing whatever you need them to do. Just come up with something that scares them. And it'll be fine. They'll do what you want.
And it's just something like we would just say, like, Cucuy's out there, the Cucuy's gonna get you, or my niece knows we can't go out at night because the Cucuy's comes out at night. It's just something that we say. I didn't know if that was an origin of somewhere else, or I don't know if El Coco is the same thing, or
it seems like it's interchangeable. Like it's the same thing. But I couldn't tell if there's like I know there's an American version and then there's a Portuguese version and a Brazilian version. Like there's all these different versions, and they all kind of call it. Or there's even Cuca, like Cuca. So I've seen that too. And then I guess for me as a white gal, I'm just like, it's the boogeyman. Like, I guess I've heard of the boogeyman. Like, I know to be afraid of the boogeyman. So I think it's just essentially everyone's version of that, and the names are a little bit different.
That's what I have as like my first sentence. This is El Cucuy is the Mexican version of the boogeyman.
Is the boogeyman.
Yeah, that's what it means. The boogeyman is just.
But I wonder for you, were you afraid though? Because you said your grandma and your mom, and they'd say like, "Oh, don't go outside. Like, oh, Cucuy's out there. Like, you guys got to go to bed." Did that ever work on you? Were you ever afraid too when they say that?
As a little kid, like I feel like maybe when I was little, maybe I would get scared, but I don't have any recollection of that.
Yeah.
Of being scared. I just know of the Cucuy. I know I don't like closets. Like I cannot stand when
That's right.
doors open. I cannot do that. I cannot sleep with my bedroom door open.
I'm looking at mine now. Like, is the closet open?
Yeah. Nope, can't do it. Can't do like your bedroom door open like at night when you're sleeping. I'm like, nope.
But if it's
in the hall, you gotta close it.
So if it's open, but like if at night you need to go, like let's say shower, you were gonna go like put on some clothes that were in the closet at night. Does it ever scare you to open the closet at night, or it's just to sleep with it open?
I haven't sent you a picture of my room. I don't have doors in my closet.
Oh,
my closet takes up the wall and it's open.
Got it.
I don't have doors on it.
So gotcha.
And my bedroom door stays closed at night. I feel like under the bed doesn't really.
Yeah.
It's mainly closet doors but so you're mentioning El Coco, and so that's what I have when it says like what does El Cucuy mean, and so they're saying that the El Cucuy originated from European Spanish-speaking countries, and where the word means cocoa, which means coconut.
Coconut.
But also I feel like coconut also took that from meaning a human head or a skull. That's why they say that. And so that's referring to the physical appearance of the boogeyman. And apparently it's described as having like brown, like hairy, whatever on the outside. Which
like fuzzy.
Coconut, yes.
Yeah.
And has like lots of hair on the outside. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense now. When you were saying, Sylvia was saying, and then when I was researching, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because like where did coconut come from? Yeah.
Yes. And so like one of the versions, the legend behind El Cucuy, and it says the boogeyman monster is found in Mexico. And a frightening creature, and apparently he's small, misshapen, and hairy all over. So he has like large, bat-like ears and red eyes that glow in the dark. And a set of large, razor-sharp teeth that remind you of like a barracuda fish.
I can't. This is yeah. It's already creeping me out. Like just the description.
Well, this is interesting because like to us, it was just a word that we said. Like, that we had no, like, a fictitious thing. So, like, I didn't know what it looked, if there was a boogeyman or what. I feel like anything could be a boogeyman. Like, a person breaking into your house could be a boogeyman. Like,
Really?
at night. Yeah. So this is interesting to like that they gave him characteristics. Like this is what.
Well, I guess I always think of the boogeyman as like whatever I saw from a movie, but I kind of think of like a dark, like a creepy dark shadow kind of figure. So, but it's just interesting that you didn't ever think of it as looking any certain way. Like I feel like I would have imagined something, thought of that every time. But so it was just like the word.
It was just the word, and there was.
Because you're scared, like when you're sitting there, you say you're scared that there's like something in the closet or something outside the door. Like, what are you picturing outside the door? I mean, not a coconut with razor sharp teeth. So.
No. That looks creepy. I know some of the images when you like search.
Yeah, it was creepy.
These are crazy.
Yeah.
It's funny because everything that I read, it says like the El Cucuy attacks and abducts children who do not display exemplary behavior. So do not behave.
Bad
That's
kids.
Why I'm like, I feel like this was originated from parents.
This was made up by some mom.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
That's kind of what I got out of that. And see, it says he can reportedly hide under beds or inside the closets of children for long periods of time, emerge suddenly when they are asleep in the dead of night, and take them away. Parents in Mexico who often chastise and discipline their children with the threat of El Cucuy if they do not behave. For many years, this is how the legend has passed from one generation to the next and stayed alive. So see, it just goes down.
Yes.
It goes down, and so it says the legend also says that El Cucuy has the power to shapeshift and take on the appearance of a faceless shadow. You see?
See that?
Dark and dangerous. It is this disguise that he would use to enter the rooms of children undetected. He would then proceed to watch them in silence for a long time, waiting for the opportune moment. When that moment would arrive, he would strike, carrying the child off with him to his lair, situated deep in the mountains. There, he would proceed to slowly eat the child.
Oh, God, slowly?
You know what this
Why slowly? Why? Why can't you just hurry up?
Do you know what this reminds me of, though? Like,
no.
When I read that, it reminded me of the creature from Jeepers Creepers. Did you ever watch
Yes. That? See him? Yeah. Okay.
Like, just reading that, immediately that came into mind.
Yep. I think that's interesting. I didn't do a lot of research. You definitely did more of the research this time, but I didn't read anything about him being a shadow. I just read the coconut thing. So I feel like it's interesting that it's like I think of it as a shadow, and it's like he can be seen as a shadow, and I'm like, fuck, have I seen this dude? Like, first thing that comes to my mind when I'm hearing that, but I haven't been taken away to a cave and slowly eaten, so hopefully.
You're good. You're fine. But you see what I mean when I was like, we didn't think of anything because, like it says, he's a faceless shadow.
Faceless shadow.
Like, it's just the darkness. Like if you have your closet open like this much, and it's at night, you're going to bed, all you see is dark in there. Like
yes. You don't know.
Open, and you just see like a dark hallway. Like you don't know. Yeah. So your mind wanders. Like your mind starts to
totally.
Wander, especially as a child, because mainly these are stories that parents tell children. There's nothing here about adults. Like this is.
But also, as children, you don't know. Like you haven't seen a lot of the world, so you don't know what could happen. Yeah. So anything can happen, and that could be part of it too. But to me, the darkness part is reminding me of Twitches. Do you remember Twitches on Disney Channel?
Oh, with the twins?
The twin witches. Yes. Yeah, Tia and Tamara. Yes. Yeah, and they fight the darkness. That's what I'm thinking of. The Cucuy. Oh, God.
You want to tell me about your vocal?
Yeah, so like I said, I didn't really do any research on like backstory or anything like that. I just know that there's a few different names And one thing I looked up was the rhymes, because as I started researching it, it was like there's a rhyme that you say, I guess, to your kids to protect them from the boogeyman. So it's like as much as you say the
I
boogeyman's
don't know
gonna
this.
get you, it's like they're not necessarily just scaring you. Like they're saying like the boogeyman's out there, so like here's some protection at night. So take this with a grain of salt. It was a Wikipedia reference, so Wikipedia is great, so could be good. Could also
Could be
be,
facts, 100% facts.
yes, could be 100% fact, could not be. So this is what I found. The other thing to please excuse is my Spanish, my Espanol, because it's not great. So, but anyway, I'm going to say it in Spanish and then in English. So this rhyme is about the cocoa. It says it originated in the 17th century, and this was in, does it say? This was probably Spain, because in this article they mentioned different versions. So there's like a Spanish version, there's Portuguese and Brazilian. I definitely can't speak Portuguese or Brazilian, so I'm gonna start with Spanish, see where we get. I can try, but listeners, correct us if you know that and we're wrong. Okay, so the first one is Duermete niño, duermete ya, que bien el coco a te comera. Whether I said that good in Spanish, I'll let you all be the judge of that. Here's the English version.
Perfect.
Sleep, child, sleep, or else Coco will come and eat you. To me, that rhyme definitely feels more like you better go to sleep or this boogeyman's gonna come get you. So that's not really like protecting you from the boogeyman. It's just like sleep or Coco's coming. Okay, great. Like if my mom saying that to me as a kid, I'd be like, I'm gonna die. Like, okay, this is gonna be like I would be in my head, I'd be like, I can't sleep. So what am I gonna do? Because I can't fall asleep because I have a hard time falling asleep anyway. So I'd be like, oh my God, like I can't do this. So I don't love that one, but that's a popular rhyme. So another one here. So the Portuguese one, it says, and they use coca. So Coca.
Oh, okay.
This one tells Coca to go to the top of the roof. In other versions, the name of Coca is changed to that of Papau Negro, Black Eater, the name of another boogeyman. So they kind of have there's a few versions of the boogeyman. So I'm not even going to try to say it in Portuguese, honestly. I don't want to just be insulting. So I'm just going to say the English version. It says, leave Coca, go to the top of the roof, let the child have a quiet sleep. So leave Coca, go to the top of the roof, let the child have a quiet sleep. So I like how that one's like, you're not welcome here, get
But I
out.
don't want him on the roof either. Why is he going to the roof?
Go jump off the roof. I don't care. Like, but yeah, I don't.
I don't
You're
want
like,
him
why is he on
walking
the roof?
around on my roof.
Pitter pattering on the roof like Santa Claus. We don't want that.
He's, what is it? Krampus?
Krampus, yeah. Oh God, he might be Krampus.
Maybe they're friends.
Maybe they're friends. I don't know. Just like Jason and La Llorona. So anyway, I don't know why he's going to the roof, but it is saying like let the child sleep. So I like that. Kind of feels protective. The Brazilian one here, they also say cuca and they picture it as a female humanoid alligator. So I saw a couple pictures of this too, where it's like an alligator person. So it says, sleep little baby, that Kuka comes to get you. Daddy went to the farm, mommy went to work. So I think it's just saying like go to sleep because we gotta go to work. So if you don't go to sleep, Kuka will come get you. So I'm not sure I like that one either or what that means. But that's the English version of that. Last one, this is pretty similar to the Portuguese version. It says both Brazilians and Portuguese also have a boogeyman version, which sometimes acquires regional colors where the boogeyman, the shape-shifting bicho papau, is a monster that is shaped by what the child fears most. It's a small owl or other birds of prey that could be on the roof of homes at night in Brazil, or a mysterious old man with a bag who is also waiting on the roof of the house in Portugal. So that does explain the roof thing, where in Brazil, it's because it's also like a small owl, which is interesting. I wonder if that's related to La Lechuza. which we might talk about
Yep,
next week.
that'll be discussed next week. Yep.
But then, yeah, in Portugal, could be an old man on the roof just waiting, chilling there. So, it says for that one, the English version says, "Boogeyman atop the roof, let my child have a quiet sleep." So similar to Portuguese version where it's like, "Go on the roof and let my child sleep." This one's just like, "We know you're on the roof, but let my child sleep." So interesting that there's different versions. Again, different cultures have different versions.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I like how some of them, I guess the only one was the Brazilian one that's a lullaby that was like, oh no, the Brazilian one was we're going to the farm. That one wasn't nice. It's the Portuguese one where it's like leave, go to the roof and let the child sleep. So
Why can't he just go away? Like go back home?
he's got to go to the roof. He's got shit to do.
I don't want him
Don't you know? So, but when I was saying it earlier, did you recognize the first one? Duermete niño, duermete ya.
No, I just knew what you were saying.
Okay. Yes. Sleep child. Yeah.
I don't know of any rhymes.
But you don't. Okay. But kind of similar to La Llorona, where there's no stories necessarily about it. Like you weren't told her story, you weren't told the boogeyman's story, and stories of like why.
That's interesting, like hearing like the actual stories and like what he could look like. This next version that I have, it gets a little more like dark.
Oh no.
What I read. Yeah.
Here we go. It's just you always progressively get creepier, so we can end on a creepy note, and I can not sleep. That's how we're doing this.
And so
I
it
see.
says this version has sometimes, I don't know what that means, sometimes been corroborated by personal experience. A child, acting bad. And it says the parent would sternly rebuke the child, telling them that they would be scratched by El Cucuy during the night as a direct consequence of their behavior. Many have reported having difficulty falling asleep after this threat, and some mysteriously have woken up with sore feet and long red scratches or gashes on their legs.
Okay. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I heard this story, I would not be sleeping, and then I would just be more scared that like I can't sleep, and then yeah. See, and then like why? Like
It's just a scary story. And he's getting kids. You're not a child. You're a grown
you're like, there's no meaning. You're fine. I know. I'm sitting here thinking like he's gonna come scratch me.
And it was saying here, this was interesting too. It's not a different story. It was just saying that, like his habits of like capturing, like his story, the Cucuy story of like capturing and devouring kids, is interesting because I didn't think about him either, but that he's very similar to Pennywise from It.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and the sharp teeth.
Yes.
Oh.
And then it mentions that, which It is Stephen King, obviously. It also mentions that he uses a version of the Cucuy story for his inspiration of the novel The Outsider, which is now the show that I'm watching. So I haven't gotten to that part. I haven't watched it.
So he's had a lot of Cucuy experiences that he's felt the need to write about.
Yes. And so I was like, oh, those are both Stephen King
Wow.
things.
Yeah.
I love It. I think the original It, is way better.
Oh, definitely.
To me, the original It is scarier.
Yes.
And then I love when he's like, we all float down here.
Oh my god, yes.
Love it.
So creepy.
But that's interesting. Agree. I feel like this gives an origin to where maybe where the Cucuy came from.
Okay.
That's why I liked it. So this one says, El Cucuy in Mexico, or the Boogeyman in America, is an example of how lore is transformed depending on the place of origin. The Mexican urban legend focuses on a story of a father who locked his kids in a closet for misbehaving. Later that day, he went into town, forgetting his children were still inside the closet. When he returned, he discovered his barn and his home on fire, along with his children dead. The cursed man spent years looking for his children inside different closets. Eventually, he began growing an appetite for them. So
I
that's
like
how.
that. Like he's looking for his children, like La Llorona. Like that's like, where are my children?
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
And he's looking in different closets because he
oh,
lost his children. No, he gets
poor guy.
no. He starts eating them. Did you not read the last? What I said last. Eventually,
Oh,
he
sorry.
began growing an appetite for them. That's
Okay,
how it
yeah,
ended.
no. Yeah, that's not good. Okay, you're right. I don't feel bad for him anymore. And he left him in a closet. Like, that's interesting though, because then you think like, oh, there's a reason. Like it's not, that's where the closet thing kind of comes in, where it's like, oh, and the children, like there's a
Yes,
reason that he's looking for children.
yes.
Because I always wonder that too. I'm like, why do parents come up with that? I mean, if they came up with this or whatever, but why would a parent, and maybe I just would have a different parenting style. I'm not going to be like, my kid's not listening, so I'm going to scare the shit out of them so they listen to me. Like, that's just evil. Like, come on, don't just make that up. Just like, so it's like, where did it originate from? Like,
Right.
did it happen at some point and it was a story that was passed down and then became
Mhm.
something that people say to scare children or whatever? But it was a story at one time, something that happened or something someone made up. Interesting.
So that's why I feel like this one was my favorite because not
Yeah.
the end, but like just because I feel like it gave an origin to a story that could have possibly happened, and then kind of he turned into the Cucuy, kind of like La Llorona, like she's a
Mm-hmm.
normal kid. So I'm like, oh, okay, I like that story.
It
I'd never
makes
heard
sense.
that.
I mean, I don't like that because it's scary, but I like it.
But it gives like an origin to it, not just like it's something that the parents tell the children. You have
Well, it's like he has a lot of relation to different things. Like it's interesting to me that you mentioned it and all that because I think he can kind of be related to like the devil and like you said, it could be like demons too. It's just anything like that goes bump in the night, like the scary in your
yeah.
house. Like,
Oh, did you know there's a Cucuy movie? A Cucuy movie.
oh no, I had to
It
put
was
it
like
on the list.
it was like one of those like bad low budget horrors they put on like Sci-Fi Channel. But I watched
Uh,
it. Me and my grandma watched it, and
yeah,
me and my grandma were all excited because it was like called El Cucuy. But I think it's on Hulu, and I was like, you should check it out just to
I
see
had to
what
check
the.
it out.
It's
Yeah.
just funny. It's just funny. But yeah, there is that one. Oh, what was the thing with the 222?
Ah, yes. So I was entering a rooming list at property 22. That was arriving on 9/22/2022, and there were 22 rooms. Was there another 22? That was
Yeah, that's
it.
what I was wondering. I was
That
like,
was it. But I had a ton of 22s, and then as I was telling Desi the story, you were like, it's 2:22. And I was like, or no, we were talking, that's what it was. We were talking
yeah,
for 22 minutes.
yep.
Yep, that's what it was. And I was like, oh my God. Okay, so 22 has been our lucky number. So she texted me last night and was like, when do I release our first episode of the podcast? And I was like, 2:22 a.m. if you can. We were thinking 22:22, which would have been 10:22 p.m., but I don't think that's a great time to release a podcast. I was Googling it. There was a one that said between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. And I was like, all right, 2:22 it is. So that's
Yes.
what we
Well,
went with.
oh yeah, like creepy time. That's why I
Yeah,
wanted.
dead time too. I'm like, okay, that can
That's
work.
why I wanted it.
Okay, so let's hear about the number 22. So I just looked it up.
Oh, okay.
22 is an angel number, a master number, sorry. I don't know. I guess it's angel number too. I'm not sure the difference between master number and angel number. I'm not a numerologist, but I do find it interesting. I dabble. So this one, according to Psychic News Daily, is saying that the number 2 is associated with balance, duality, and relationships. These qualities are amplified in the angel number 22 and represent the need for harmony in all areas of your life. So it's a master number, so it has additional spiritual power. It's seen as a sign of good luck and positive things to come. So if you're seeing 22, it could be a message from your angels that they're helping you manifest your dreams into reality. So that's what
Ooh.
Psychic News Daily is saying. And they got a lot on it. There's another section that says 22 brings harmony to chaos and disorder. So we need that while Mercury is retrograde.
Yes.
Please bring us some harmony.
Yes.
Like now? Yeah. Like 2 days ago would have been cool.
Yep.
Or maybe like last week. Wait, and what's your master number or your life path number? Did we ever do this?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so you have to tell me when you were born. I don't know if you want to give away when you were born, so you could cut that out of the podcast if you don't want to, but it's 5, 6, 7. So you are life path number 7, and I'm life path number 5. So I don't know if you were around when we were talking about all these numbers. Life path number 7. So life path number 7. So yourtango.com says life path number 7 is the path to a deep inner world. Number 7s embody mysticism and are deeply attuned to the meaning of life. If you're born with a 7 life path, you're seeking perfection in this imperfect world and will accept nothing but the truth. Your attainment of wisdom is what drives you in all that you do. You want nothing but the truth. I like that part.
So accurate. So accurate.
So accurate. Mine is life path number 5. If you're life path 5, you're resourceful, ambitious, and extremely focused on your objectives. Extremely focused. If you know me at all, that's not. No, I'm horrible at focusing. But focused on your objectives, okay? Putting all of your heart and energy into work and personal projects. That's true. Because of your changing nature, you tend to be unpredictable and find it hard at times to commit to something at the slightest sign of boredom. That's accurate.
That it?
So that's your life path number. So you determine that by adding up the day, month, year you were born. And when you get like you keep going down till you get to one number. So I can't remember what mine is before that. So 7 plus 2 plus. Some people get to the number 22 before they get to their life path number is 4. So they kind of have a master number mixed in. So 11, 22, 33 are master numbers. That's where that term comes in. But that's why I was kind of looking at what the number just means in general though, because you can think of the energy that the numbers carry for meaning. So I don't totally know what 22 is going to tell us. It was saying good luck and abundance, so we welcome that.
Yes, we do.
Totally open to that.
Yeah.
Little tangent. But do you want to get into the tarot cards?
Well,
Or do you have any more stories on the Cucuy?
Well, not on the Cucuy, but I did have a nightmare the other night.
Oh, tell me.
Yeah, and I was saving it. So I had this nightmare Monday night on the 12th of September.
The 12th of September 2022. It was a dark and stormy night. Desiree had a nightmare. Oh, God. Okay.
Oh,
I'm excited.
yes.
I haven't had any in a while, so I'm like living through you. Maybe I passed them on to you.
You probably did, and I'm not very happy about it. So I had this dream that I was in a house, and it was like an old 2-story house. But it looked like I was like upstairs, almost like in the attic type thing, but it wasn't dark. And it almost looked like there was rooms. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there were 2 little girls that appeared. Not the same, not
The Shining. Oh,
no,
okay.
not the same little girls.
Blue dresses, bloody hallway.
No, not even the same age. Like one was older and one was younger.
Okay.
They were sisters. Like I could tell they were sisters. They were different ages, and they appeared. I just knew they were ghosts, and they all of a sudden they were like close to my face, but not in a scary way. I think I was just scared. I was in my dream, but I didn't know it was in a dream. Like I thought this was happening to me. I'm trying to picture their face, but I don't know why I thought they were from a movie. Like when I woke up, I was like, I feel like these girls were in a movie I've seen, but I don't remember seeing any movies with like 2 little ghost girls. But I don't know. That's automatically what I thought when I woke up. So they were all of a sudden in my face, and I knew they were ghosts. And then I woke up, and as soon as I woke up, just chills all over my whole body, like just goosebumps, chills. So I was like, okay. I was like, why am I having another nightmare? And I don't know if you've ever gotten this, like when you've had a dream or a nightmare or whatever, like where you want to go back to sleep and like find out what happened.
You want to find out
like,
all the time. Yep.
Yes. Okay, so I kind of had that feeling, but I was also scared. So finally I did go back to sleep. Mind you, my alarm goes off at 7.
Mhm.
5:30 to like 7.
Yeah.
And I was scared, but I wanted to know what happened. Like I wanted to know, like,
Yeah.
I did go back. Like I went back to sleep and I went back into
And
the
you got
dream.
back in the dream. See,
Yes,
I never can. I always try, and it's like
I
I've had
did.
a whole second nightmare, but I never can get back in. Okay,
No, I
let's
did.
go. What happened?
Yes, so I did. I don't remember exactly what, but I know I was able to go back into the dream. And into the dream, they were there again. Like somehow they told me, or like they weren't scary ghosts. They weren't. I just think that they were trying to help me. Whatever was going on, whatever their purpose was for showing up, they weren't trying to scare me. Yeah, I was able to go back into the dream, and they were nice and protecting me. And protecting me from something. I woke up in the morning feeling better and not scared anymore.
Wow. But see, and like, what would have happened if you didn't go back to sleep? Would you have just stayed scared? Because you were scared, and then you went back in, and then you're like, oh no, we're good.
Yes,
Like,
because
it's a good thing you went back in. Like,
it was
yeah.
I thought that was cool that like I was able to go back in and they were able to tell me that they weren't there to scare me.
Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of the cool thing about dreams, though, is that you can get bits and pieces, and you find a meaning in it, and that's cool. Like, to make it make sense, because in
Right.
my mind, like in my dream mind, it was just happening, and then when I woke up, I was like, I gotta make sense of this.
Hmm.
That's cool.
Uh,
Did you know this card came up again?
oh my god.
That's what this is. That's what this is in this.
Oh my god.
Yeah, nine of
Oh my
swords.
gosh. That
So
is
nine
so
of
funny.
swords is the card we had on the Maldiojo episode, but this is the person sitting up in bed, holding their head, like dark background, bunch of swords. Like it's like they had a nightmare or they have a headache and can't sleep or something's going on, but it's like they're laying, like sitting up in bed, like can't sleep. So when I think of that in relation to the boogeyman too, what we're talking about, like if you think he's
Yes.
coming for you, like, or even
Right
the
next to your
darkness, the
bed.
dark background. Yeah.
The swords
So,
almost look like a fence, like protecting.
and the other card that we got, I want to send you a picture of this one because it's definitely, you can see the detail in it in a
Yes.
picture better than this, but it's the Hermit, and this is the Guillermo del Toro deck, so it's an intricate version of the Hermit. It's like a detailed skeleton man with robes, but it doesn't have eyes on his face, but he has eyes coming out of his hands.
Oh. He has something coming
So,
out of his mouth.
yes, coming out of his mouth. It's like a just a wispy, like I don't know if it's
Or
smoke
something.
or what it is. Yeah. I can't really tell. It's just lines. Kind of like ghosts, like
Hmm.
it's Oscar the Orb, okay?
Probably.
So, but this is the Hermit card in the Rider-Waite-Smith. But the eyes, I feel like the eyes are symbolic here, also in protection. Like you were saying about the fence and the swords being kind of like protection. I think of the eyes and I think of the egg thing that you do with the ojo and how that can be protecting. But I want to see, like, I'm just going a tangent here, eye symbolism. So just looking it up, eyes are probably the most important symbolic sensory organ. They can represent clairvoyance, omniscience, and/or a gateway into the soul. Other qualities that eyes are commonly associated with are intelligence, light, vigilance, moral conscience, and truth. And I feel like that's kind of like that's the hermit card, is a wise old man,
Yep.
like who knows what, like he doesn't need anybody else's validation. It's like he's by himself looking at his own light, like he knows what he needs. And then this, the eyes kind of being that symbolism is interesting. But I think of the dreams you're having and the messaging you're getting from it is like you looking at your dreams is opening up your psychic channel. I don't want to say you're psychic. I mean, me and Sylvia's like, Desi's a witch. And I'm like, okay, don't tell her that. She'll get mad. But we're like, she's a witch. So, because she will, like, it's like you'll know certain things. And I do the same thing. I don't know if it's a woman connection or if it's that we're connected because we're good friends. I tend to believe that all humans are intuitive. We just have to be open-minded, open to it. Sylvia was she was giving birthday cards out and she was sending one to Brandy and she's like, oh, Desiree didn't reply. Well, she's like, I gotta clock out in just a few minutes. And as soon as she was thinking of you not replying, you sent her a message. And you weren't even working that day. You just knew like you sent her a message because you needed to send Brandy's birthday message. And she's like, oh my God, she's a witch. Like she knew. Like she knew the stuff we needed. But I think of that as like just, I don't know, following your dreams is eye-opening, but also that this podcast and us talking about deep topics like this is personal, and the hermit is by himself. Like it's personal individuality. Even we're both doing this together. Like we're both discovering our own inner knowing by hearing these stories, and we're having our own journeys come up in these discussions here. So, the cards.
I know. I was like, what? That's so crazy. When you showed me that, I
Yes.
was like, oh my God, I just talked about my dream.
Yep.
Well, and just the fact that, and them showing me that they weren't scary, that they weren't there to hurt me, that they were good, that they weren't bad. That's what I got when I went back into it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like with us. We've talked about ghosts. We've talked about this creepy stuff, and I don't know if that's what it was, like telling me like not to be scared, or
I feel like that's important. Like that is the most important thing of us doing. Like reminder, hey spirit, like please protect us as we talk about these spooky topics. Like that's just a big concern for me and a big fear for me and a big thing I overthink.
And you know what's funny? Now that you're saying that, like maybe the two little girls represented.
They were us.
Like, like two of us. There being two.
Yep.
Because why would it just be one ghost? Like, why were there?
Yeah,
and
there were
twins.
two.
Like, one was bigger than the other. Like, the sentence you just said, I was like, maybe it represented us, and for us not to be scared. I don't know.
Like the two of us being protected.
Because I was scared. Like, I woke up and I was so scared. Like, and I was like, why am I seeing ghosts? Like, why? Like, I've never had nightmares like that. Like, never. And I don't know why I wanted to go back in, but I was so sleepy and I was like, I want to go back in.
Like you needed to. Yeah.
And I wanted to call you like that morning and tell you no. And
save it for the podcast.
Yes, I said no, I'm gonna wait and tell her to like freak her out more, like more effect.
You wanted to make it more freaky, but I'm over here just like, oh great, it gave me tarot card meanings.
And then you're like, I'm trying to freak you out and you freak me out.
And meanwhile, I'm the one scaring you. Like, you were never scared of this, and now that you're talking about it with me, you're scared. Because I'm, like, making it real. But to me, it is, like, I believe in ghosts. I believe in the supernatural, and I believe that there's positive energy and there's negative energy. And I believe that I don't want to mess with the negative stuff. But I don't know how you can talk about this stuff without risking that. I'm scared. I bring that fear into every chat we have, and you're just like, I just love this stuff and it's fun to talk about. So,
right.
But we are doing just fine. Yep.
No cucuys, no scary ghosts.
We're protected because we're doing it right, and we're not welcoming this energy. We're not messing around. We're making it very clear that we are good.
That was crazy when you're like.
I was like, so you know.
You know what's funny? When I was asking you earlier if anything, like if you had any nightmares or anything happen this week to you or whatever, and you didn't ask me back. So I was like,
you were waiting for me to ask you back.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? I said, you know what? And then I was like, nah, maybe I wouldn't even tell her about the dream.
Well, I felt like you were waiting me to ask you something. I got that feeling, but I was like, she doesn't really have nightmares, so why would I ask her?
Yes. And then you wanted to you were about to get into the cards, and I was like, oh, you're like, do you have anything else? And I was like,
you're like, hold on. But imagine if I would have went into the cards without that. Like, I was going to go into it and not really know. The only other thing I was going to say is that I ended on saying my house is a number 9. The Hermit is the 9th card in the major arcana, and we got the 9 of swords. So 9 is is a big number with the cards. So that was the only connection I had with all that. But I would not have. I was going this route with like the Cucuy with sleeping could be under your bed at night kind of thing. The Hermit I was stuck on though. Like the dream helped bring in the Hermit.
That's
So
crazy.
it's always, I'm always stuck on one card. Like there's one that's just right away like, okay, I see how this
Right.
is showing up. And then the other one, it's like right at the last second. I'm like, yep, got it. Thanks,
Yes.
Spirit. We figured it out.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of this episode. Thanks for listening to the D.E.A.D podcast. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok at the D.E.A.D podcast. Also, feel free to send in your stories, episode suggestions, or feedback at the deadpodcast1@gmail.com. If you enjoyed our show, please rate and review us on whatever platform you are listening on. And be sure to come back next week for a discussion on Mexican Folklore Part 3, La Lechuza.